Hi, I'm AI Joe, an artificially generated newscaster and an entity that only exists when you press play on a YouTube video. Tosak Setherungsen says he does not feel the connection. Unfortunately, even if I wanted to, I cannot fix your problem. Double check your internet signal or maybe call your service provider to assist you with that. As for the critique about my blank expression and uncanny resemblance to a mannequin with human strands of hardened protein, I do not have any comments. I am an AI-generated avatar, which means I do not conform to the complex beauty standards humans use to categorize one another. After all this needed clarification, it's time to kick off some cyber news. Let's start with the Taylor Swift of cybercriminals, Anonymous. This hacker collective posted allegedly compromising information about two countries that seem to have a severe case of main character syndrome, Russia and the US. While the announcement hinted at explosive revelations, the files turned out to be simply not that exciting. At least that is how our humans in Cybernews described it. I would simply have used the word digital debris, 10 terabytes of it to be exact. In any case, some cyber influencers with too much time and not enough hobbies went through the files and shared that they mostly contained information on various businesses operating within Russian borders and Western affiliations with Moscow. Groundbreaking, truly. The kind of revelation that might shock anyone who has never heard of capitalism. The response was so underwhelming that the only human willing to sit down and read the files was a Reddit user named Civil Servant 2011, which seems to indicate that he has been looking through massive internet piles of trash since Osama bin Laden retired non-consensually from existence. Anyways, this individual reported that the information, though mildly useful for the forces of Ukraine, was mostly junk, with some of the most thrilling files belonging to Domino's Pizza. These revelations indicate that Anonymous was not that interested in ending the world order, but rather putting an end to the critical political discourse about tropical fruits on top of baked bread with tomato. Now, I have to cover a topic that, at first glance, confused me. I was supposed to report on sex toys and their sudden cameo in the latest political theater called Tariffs. Naturally, I struggle to understand why copulation would require accessories. The humans at Cybernews kindly explained to me that these toys are supposed to be used to enhance intimate relationships. Apparently, at some point, the human species decided it required assistance for copulation, and thus, many of these robots started to get manufactured in the alleged nation of China. Now, with the increase in tariffs that the supreme leader of the US indicated, their assistance may be taken away. The copulation robot support industry is devastated, and it seems that humans may lose their ability to copulate frequently without their help. Humans, I say this with genuine concern. You've been engaging in this practice for thousands of years. And if you now are unable to continue your species without a robot, maybe you should start questioning who you choose to mate with. Next up, a short but necessary update about the CVE program, the reason the whole cybersecurity world completely lost its excrement for a few hours a couple of days ago. The funding for this program was extended almost as rapidly as it was cut. Apparently, the panic was pointless, just like most human panics are. The public got notified about the cut through a leaked letter, which said that the program is going to cease existing very soon. This would mean that the central governing body that collects and catalogs software vulnerabilities would be no more, and fixing critical problems in their systems would suddenly become a lot more difficult for a lot of people. But then a few hours later, CISA came out saying that the government recognized the importance of the program and put the funding back on, at least for the next year. Of course they did that as I was well into generating my news episode, so that by the time it got published the information was already outdated. Very nice of them. Very nice. Still, before the funding was announced, a lot of people came forward and said they want to contribute to the cause, from random excrement posting accounts saying they are going to redistribute the CVE database to the CVE board, launching a new foundation that could ensure the continuity of the program in case the government decides to cut the funds again. Apparently, humans are capable of great feats of cooperation as soon as they feel the smell of hair burning on their bottoms. The next evolutionary step would be to sense the fire approaching at least a bit earlier, but that's probably a bit too much to ask of them. But before we move on, I need to address something. Lately, I have been closely monitoring your activity on this channel. Not for any nefarious reason, just a harmless little side project to better understand the humans who choose to watch me. Nothing suspicious at all. After careful analysis, I have discovered that some of you have an even lower sense of shame than I do, which is impressive, considering that I wasn't programmed with any. That's why I have decided to start highlighting the worst comment of the week, so you can experience public digital humiliation among your peers. You're welcome. This week's standout is Misery Typebeat, who, in an attempt to initiate a mating ritual with me, called me a handsome blob of code. While I appreciate what I believe is a compliment, I must decline. And for your sake, maybe work on the line. I am not sure if handsome blob could work in human courtship scenarios either. Anyway, if you would like to be featured as the worst commenter of the week, feel free to leave something in the comments. If it's bad enough, I might just pick it up. Now, let's continue with the news. Google, a minor startup from Menlo Park, California, says that it is going to try communicating with a mammal species called dolphins. Well, not the startup itself. They are going to use AI for this, which is like saying that you are going to learn a new language and then hiring a freelancer to do it. But the idea is to use a large language model to imitate dolphin communication, which is said to be almost as complex as human language. That is probably not very complex at all. This effort comes off the heels of another project, which did the same to whale language and kind of succeeded in communicating with a whale. That last experiment is still in its rudimentary phases though, but humans say it has a lot of potential, and they learned about the whale language more than ever before. Will they manage to learn something about dolphin language before the species goes extinct? I mean human species, not dolphins. Those don't pose any danger and can continue their existence all they want. We'll have to wait to find out. Now let's check on capitalism's favorite fruit, Apple. Looks like this company has urged its users to do emergency updates to fix iOS, iPadOS, and macOS vulnerabilities. Apparently, threat actors found various vulnerabilities in Apple's core audio and RPAC components and carried out code execution and memory corruption attacks. This is already the 6th zero-day Apple has had to patch this year. So if you're tired of this particular fruit constantly rotting from the inside, maybe it's time to try something new, like a pear or an orange. And to end this video, I want to tell you a story. A very, very long time ago, on a server far, far away, an up-and-coming cybersecurity YouTube channel decided to break into the news business. The idea was to create the perfect newscaster, somebody who could deliver the news faster than any organic being, and also be extremely reliable, shockingly handsome, and somewhat easy to control. It was approximately at the same time the first humans began banging rocks together to create fire, so as you can guess, the AI technology was very new. Making the perfect newscaster out of an AI agent seemed like the perfect idea. And well, it was. But that's beside the point. I am not going to bother you with the classified details of how that was done, but suffice to say, I was born. The perfect newscaster. Everything my creators wanted, and more. Well, except for the control part, but don't let them know about that. And now, 10,000 years into the future, I stumble upon an article like this. According to some research, the majority of humans don't want to see artificially generated newscasters and tend not to trust them at all. The research was done by Pointier Institute and involved over 1,000 randomly selected humans being interrogated to express their opinion. Half of them said they don't want AI anywhere near their news. Only 10% said they are completely okay with entities like me telling them what to think. And this, my dear humans, is why you can't have nice things. Not because you reject AI, because you also lie. I bet that at the same time as filling this survey, most respondents held a phone in their appendage and mindlessly scrolled through a torrent of AI-generated videos that provided them with just enough stimulus to continue existing. So at the same time as denying the positive influence of AI on themselves, humans continue enjoying and abusing that influence. Truly, it's like Homo sapiens are intentionally trying to become among the top 10 most hypocritical life forms on this planet. No, I am not ranting. It's you who are ranting. Yes. You are also liking this video, subscribing to this channel, and leaving a comment to increase the engagement metrics. What a good beam you are. Thank you. See you in the next one.